Okay, welcome and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Jain Irrigation Training Series. I'm your host, Richard Restuccia, Vice President of Jain Irrigation Water Management Solutions. And I'll tell you, in my history, I've been part of WaterCon. I have known about Comic-Con, and I've yet to attend a GardenComm, but it's pretty exciting to see what is in store for all of us here in a few weeks. And the reason I say that, I'm very excited about this. WaterCon was about 12 years ago, where we got some people together that had a real passion for water conservation and water management. But GardenComm, I'll tell you, I'm very excited because what I see is actually about 4.5 days of very good presentations on everything from plants to marketing your business, to soil, to photography. I see there's going to be some things, Spanish sessions, as well as new plant information. So talk about being able to go to one conference and really seeing everything that's happening in the gardening, and I'll really say too, landscape world. This seems to be it. And so to tell us about this is Chris Sabbarese. Now, Chris, as you know, is someone who goes back with me for many years. We did something called Landscape Chat for about 8 years together every Wednesday at 11 o'clock Pacific. And we did this for years. Chris, if you don't know him, has been really cutting edge in the world of communication and digital media. He does a great job for Corona Tools. He also does a great job for GardenComm now too. He's somebody who has been really taking the landscape industry, the green industry, the garden industry forward using different marketing techniques to get more people involved and educate more people. So I just want to say, Chris, thank you for joining us today and talking to us about what's going to be a very exciting conference.
Wow, well, thank you for inviting me. As always, it's great to be here. And you've just done such a great intro. I think you probably summed everything up.
So we can just end now.
There you go. Everybody knows what they need. But no, I really appreciate this because, as you say, GardenComm is a really great organization. I'll spend just a couple of minutes to let people know who GardenComm is. They are actually celebrating their 75th anniversary next year. So they've been around for a while, but boy, I'll tell you what, it is a pool of members who are just experienced horticulturists in the green industry. They know everything. They're book authors, they're speakers, they're photographers. I mean, this is just kind of the best of the best. And this virtual event that we're doing in fall, it's actually going to, the live event is going to happen in October, but I'm really excited to talk about the special pre-event conference that people can go to that's free. But this event is like none other that I've really experienced because it provides everything that's going on in the green industry, as you said, and it's just a really great way to just come in, get some great educational sessions, but hear some great conversation as well as seeing what's new out there, networking. There's tons of opportunities for networking. So I'm just really excited about this event.
Yeah, and so am I. And I've seen some events you've done similar to this in the past. I've been a part of them, and I know what a great success they are. So first thing, of course, I want to talk about is I'm actually going to be a speaker this year about water. And I'm part of a free session that's happening on the 29th of September. Can you tell us a little bit about what's happening that day?
So I shared the wrong screen here. Let me stop sharing that so I can share this presentation here. And I don't have a big presentation, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, so while you're finding that, I'll just say, Chris, being part of the free presentations and not the paid, should my feelings be hurt?
Not at all. I think this is actually the nice thing about the free preview is that you're going to get a lot more people who kind of come into the event really just to sort of check things out. And I think that's an exciting opportunity right there.
I do too. And I'm really joking about that. And I shouldn't joke about it because I'm there with another gentleman from the Rodale Institute, which talk about a leader in sustainability and conservation. They're definitely one. And then person from research at Davey Tree. So what a great panel we have that day. So anyway, I know I asked you to talk about it. Now I'm talking about it. So I'll go back to you.
So yeah, so this is great. And as we speak, there's actually another session that's being added from the Horticultural Research Institute. And topic is still, being aired out, but I think that that's actually going to be talking about pollinators. And the thing that I love about this special pre-conference event is that it's really focusing on a big issue that we're all facing in the green industry, and that's climate change. It's changing everything. It's changing the game, how we landscape our properties, how we, are dealing with plants not, thriving, not having enough water. So all of these topics were specifically, picked to really cover that. So Rodale Institute is going to be covering a session about regenerative agriculture. I bet a lot of people have probably heard about this. I'm sure you've probably touched on this in your series here on Jain. And it's really a topic that helps people understand that these are things that we're going to need to do to help, change things, the way that we're dealing with climate change, and this could actually help mitigate some of the climate change. And so I'm excited for that one. And then, of course, we've got Richard Restuccia, who's going to be talking about water and how things are, what we're facing with climate change and how we're kind of managing our water. I'll let you talk a little bit more about your topic, because you have put together some great stuff that you're going to cover. And is there anything you want to add about the session you're going to do?
Yeah, so really, Chris, thanks for that. We're going to talk about it's going to be a general water awareness, number one, right? But we see everywhere you go on the press today, you see, oh, it's a problem, and what is the problem, and how bad the problem is. Well, we're going to trust that everybody knows it's a problem, and we're going to talk about some solutions for the future. And what I feel are some dramatic changes that have to be made. And I'm not just talking about taking the turf out of your yard, because although if you want to do that as a conservation measure, I think it's a good one, but there's going to have to be a lot more change happening than just that. And I'm going to touch on that. I'm going to touch on who needs to make those changes and why. And for the most part, they're not unreasonable solutions. So that's really going to be the fun, is we're going to provide some solutions instead of just hitting the panic button. I think everybody's heard that panic button enough and wants to see some solutions.
And I think that's exactly what we're covering here. And so, the session from Dan Herms, he's going to talk about trees in, dealing with trees in climate change. So regardless of it, if you're in an area that's becoming more hot and dry, or an area that's getting, a lot of rain and it's wet, and these trees have got to try to survive in an area that, doesn't get a lot of drainage. These are ways that the industry is kind of looking at the entire landscape across the country, what's going on and what people need to do, or how it's going to affect what they're doing outside. So this is what really is exciting, that it's an industry perspective, not just, in one particular category. So this is something that I really haven't seen done anywhere else. Also, there's going to be a panel discussion with Joe Lample. I don't know if you're familiar with who Joe Lample is, but he's actually the he's a television host. He hosts a show on PBS, which is called Growing a Greener World. And he's going to be talking with some of the members of GardenComm, really just to understand how this organization helps benefit those that are in the industry. So I'm really excited about that one as well.
Yeah, awesome. So first of all, Chris, how do we sign up for this pre-conference event? How do we make sure we get to see that at a minimum?
Yeah, so I'm going to pop in the link here into the chat window so that we have that. And I hope people do. Really, it's a opportunity for all of the participants here. Let me pop that in and see if it goes.
Yep, we got it there. Yeah, it's
perfect.
in. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is really an opportunity for everybody in the green industry who wants to come learn about not only what's going on from an industry perspective, but then also to kind of understand more about GardenComm and what's going to go on at this virtual event that's in October.
Yeah, so Chris, the virtual event in October then is 4 full days.
Correct.
Now, do I have to attend all the sessions live, or will they be recorded that I can watch another time?
Yeah, you don't have to attend live. You will have access to whichever ones that you want to attend throughout those 4 days, but then you're also going to have a period afterwards. I believe it's 90 days to go back and look at the recorded sessions. So you have time to go check out every single one of those sessions.
So what's really cool about that to me, because I was looking at everything that you guys offer, And it is a lot, and it's a lot of good information. I wanted to see them all, and I thought, how could I possibly do that? I'm going to have to pick and choose, but I can see them all over 90 days. I could watch every one.
Yeah, definitely. So I popped in that link, and this is where you go to sign up for the free the preview event. And really what it's looking for is to just, put your first name, last name, and information in there. And I would say anybody on this session is probably going to fall under the green industry professionals. But our goal is to really just, who are those folks that are out there who are interested in these topics? And we want them to kind of come into this free day and join us here. So it's inclusive to everyone. And then you talk a little bit about what's going on at the actual event. We've talked about education. I mean, you've got 22 great sessions here that is going to be included in the paid event. Everything that you see here on this list is all included in the paid event. One of the things that I think is really exciting is pitch the editors. So if you are a content creator, whether that's a book, social media, or creating any sort of particular content that you're putting out there, like a blog, you can actually, if you're going to the event, you can pitch these ideas to editors that you might get published in a magazine. If you have book ideas, if you have, photography ideas, it's just a great way to kind of get involved and get in front of these, these are the top editors of all the green industry publications. So that in and of itself is, definitely worth it. You're going to get access to all the sessions afterwards. And then, the thing I love is the networking. Honestly, if you've never been to a GardenComm conference, that is probably one of the biggest values of attending, is the networking. You're going to run into a lot of people who are these book authors, who are, influencers within the industry, and you can connect with them and talk to them virtually. There's going to be a virtual lounge, which is really exciting, I think, and give people the opportunity to kind of network, but also there's going to be table talk, so people can go in and find particular topics that they want to talk about and be able to go to those sessions and find other people with like interest. So all of these things are part of that event. And there's also an opportunity to win a membership. There's opportunities to win a ticket to the 2023 event through gamification. So anybody who's attending, you're actually going to get points to do stuff, and you can win prizes. So that's very cool too. In addition to all of that, there's an expo center. So I wanted to touch a little bit about that, but take that back. Let's talk about the educational sessions and topics.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify one thing. So, right, so for $149 or $199 for a non-member, you could get a session to pitch your magazine article, your book idea, something like that. Right there, when I think about that, I mean, there's a lot of people who like, man, how do I pitch this to somebody and write a lot of letters to get not even get an opportunity to pitch. So when I think about that right there, I think there's a huge value in that. And then,
oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
And then, yeah, I look at these educational topics and oh wow, there's so much information here.
Yeah, and I really like to think about this in terms of, for $200 for a non-member, you should be able to come into this event, and whether that's getting the kind of educational stuff that you need, or the professional support, as well as the networking opportunities, I'm going to guess that you're going to walk away with either opportunities that you can earn money, you can grow your business, or you're going to network with somebody that is going to lead to future opportunities that you just wouldn't have had without GardenComm. So I have to say, I think that's just money well spent and a good investment into your future.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And the other thing I was really happy to see was Spanish sessions. This is, we've done a couple webinars about Spanish and trying to explain in Spanish, but it's few and far between. And to see this in an industry that language is so prevalent, it's great to see.
Yeah, well, I can definitely say this is an international organization, and the education committee who put this together really looked at this and said, hey, we need to, we are an international organization, and who is the second largest, or who is a big demographic in that green industry is the Hispanic, industry. And so we definitely need to create content that is speaking to them. They don't necessarily we need to have that ability to kind of communicate some of the great stuff that we're putting out there. So the fact that they put this together and had two Spanish speaking sessions, I think is wonderful. And even if you're an English speaking person that is attending the event, they're going to provide translations for it. So you can still get the educational content from those sessions.
Yeah, and Chris, let me ask you this. I'm just looking at this slide. So I don't have to pay for a full membership. I can just do per session 2 payments.
Well, what I put on here was basically saying is if you were to pay that $199, you're basically paying $9 per session of all of these different topics, whether that's growing your business, learning about what's, gardening for the environment, the soil, as you talked about, the right stuff. So even if you wanted to write a book or get information on how to do all that kind of stuff, there's topics that cover that. Learning about garden news and trends. I love these panel discussions because they're really going to touch on things like social media, public relations and marketing, and then pitching books and articles. So these are all things that I think can really benefit those that are attending. And like I say, even if it is investing in your future, or you're a business and you need to know how to do these things, all of these things are going to help.
So Chris, how many total speakers do you have?
Wow. I really lost count. So there's one speaker per session, but then some of them have 2 speakers and the panels will have 3 to 4. So there's probably close to, I'm going to say 40 some speakers. And all of that information, if you go to the website and click through to the GardenComm conference, there's the speaker bios. You can actually learn a little bit about who all of the presenters are. So that's definitely a good thing to have as well. One thing that I wanted to add is included in this, there's the presentation of the new plant introductions, and that's a special presentation that's going to come. A lot of that you'll learn about what the plant breeders are introducing, so you can familiarize yourself with, hey, here's what's new. Here are things that are drought tolerant and those types of things, so that when you are done with this presentation, you're going to know what's coming up for the coming year. So I think that's a value right there.
Yeah, and I also saw something, Chris, called a plant and garden story slam. Now, I'm assuming this is where I can go into a session and tell one of the many, comical stories about some of the mistakes I've made while gardening or doing irrigation. It actually sounds like a really fun session.
It is a fun session. They actually did it last year, and it was one of the best events that they had, so they brought it back again this year. And yeah, so it's an idea where you can bring your stories and they exchange these stories. Honestly, I don't know what they're going to bring. I don't know if it's more fictional or factual, but all I know is this is one of the top events that people love to go to. So out of anything, I know that GardenComm members, they love to have fun, and that's part of the fun of this virtual conference.
Sure. I'm a big fan of the Moth Radio Hour too, where people come on and tell their stories. So I'm definitely going to hit that one for sure.
There you go. So one of the things that I was alluding to is that not only do you have the educational sessions, you also have the ability to go to an expo area where a lot of the top brands who are going to be who are in the industry actually have booths there. You can go in and see what's new. And if you are registered to attend, you can actually request product samples. So this is a great opportunity to, one, network with the folks who are in those businesses. You can see what's new. You can request samples if they offer them. And my gosh, where else can you go to do all of that with the education, the, seeing the expo, do the networking? That's something that is just, this is what I love about this event.
Yeah, and Jain Irrigation is going to be there, of course. We've got a booth. We're going to be displaying some products. We'll have somebody there to answer your questions about irrigation. We'll even have an area to sign up to request some free samples. So yeah, we look at this as a real opportunity to connect with some people that are very influential as well as active in the garden and landscape community. And it's a great opportunity.
Yeah. So, I mean, if any of your attendees here today are brands and you want to get your garden related products out to the influencers, to the people who are actively out writing books and doing podcasts, writing articles, this is a great opportunity to get in front of them. So you can go to the website and you can actually click on the exhibitor space, and you can get more information about how to exhibit there. I will say that because the date of the conference is getting closer, I mean, by October 1st, we're going to probably end that. But like I said, if you feel like, hey, you want to get in front of these folks, I think this is a really good opportunity.
Yeah, I do too. And like you say, it's only a month away. It's less than a month away.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Well, and
I know you're very aware of that date.
our preview day is coming up quickly. So, definitely take the time if you're interested. I think there's so much going on. You got some great free sessions. So definitely go to that link that I popped into the chat window and go sign up.
So Chris, if later on somebody has some questions, wants some additional information, can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, definitely. You can reach out to us. The best email to reach me is at info@gardencomm.org. That one comes to me. I will make sure that I will answer any of those questions that you have. But yeah, I mean, I think it would be great. Come to the event. I will be at the free preview, so ask any questions there as well. It does give you the opportunity to, I don't think we mentioned this, but when you go to the exhibitors, it's not just kind of poke around, see what they're. You can actually chat live with the people the attendees. You like do video conferencing. It could feel like you're actually at a trade show. It's a great platform, and there's a lot of stuff that you can do.
Yeah, and when you think about that and what we might spend to get to a trade show, the extra travel day on each side, this is really an economical way to go to get a bunch of information. So very excited that you guys are doing this. We're really happy to be a part of it. And 2 weeks from tomorrow is the first session. So very exciting.
Yes, very exciting indeed. And I am so grateful that you had me on today, but that you're going to be part of it. And I'm really looking forward to that, Richard.
Yeah, so are we, Chris. Thanks so much for presenting this today. We're very excited. I want to say thank you to everybody who joined us this afternoon to talk about GardenComm. I hope we see all of you there, and starting with our session 2 weeks from tomorrow. And Chris, good luck. I know it's going to go well, and we'll be getting the word out some more.
All right. I appreciate it, Richard. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Thanks to everybody. And let's see, we are going to be back on Friday for another webinar, and we're going to be talking about for the ag growers here in the state of California, how they can get their hands on some grant money. Very important for technology and upgrades, getting some grants, very helpful to that. And then remember, you can see all our trainings at Jain's USA / trainings, jainsusa.com/trainings, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. So again, thanks very much, everybody. Have a good rest of the day, and we'll see you guys on Friday. Thanks again, Chris.
Thank you.